Howdy there, folks and cowpokes, and today we have a podcast, the Sorta podcast, in fact, which we are recording today, the 14th of November. This will be going live in December, so some things may not be so topical, but we'll be talking about them anyways, because they're topical to us. And you filthy worms will eat whatever we give you.
Hopefully. That's the idea.
Yes. And if not, then we'll keep giving you until morale continues. Or improves, rather. I fucked up my joke. So...
Great way to start the podcast.
I am Melody Jet Werner, and I'm joined by Dan.
Hey.
Our pronouns, I am she, her, and you are he, him, correct?
Correct.
Alright. Oh no, pronouns! I'm evaporating! Anyways, as you can hear, we are listening to the SLRPG soundtrack, as always, by Beatrix Quinn, and we will be talking about things. Beware.
Is the idea.
So, in terms of topics, would you like to start things off, Dan, or shall I?
You could start because, I think your segue's better as an opening.
Alright. So, today we'll be talking, to start with, about Dungeons 4, which is a game that I received code for from the publisher, Calypso Media, and I have been quite enjoying it. It is like Dungeon Keeper plus Warcraft. So you're basically building your base underground, and then you're amassing an army, and then you set that army to go out and fight enemies and whatnot. So this is a series that I have not been paying too much attention to up until recently with the Dungeons 4, just because I got the code for it and I was like, fuck it, I'll jump right into the 4th game in the series. What could go wrong? Nothing has gone wrong, in fact. I fucking love it. So, we'll cut away to footage of that right now, that I recorded. So that you can see...
High-tech. Using technology for all it's worth.
Yes.
You know, there's a funny story about this, actually. So I was doing a film shoot the other day, Sunday night, and we tried to connect the light to mobile power banks. We only had one light. It was a really small one, and the power banks didn't have enough power. So we ended up just using our laptops as power banks, and just plugging the light into that, just having the guy hold both the laptop in one hand and the light in the other. And what dawned on us is how many years of technological innovation has gone into the laptop? 30 years of getting the processors right, graphics cards, pixels, all that stuff, and at the end it's just a battery for a light. And it's I don't know, that just cracked it all.
Yeah.
It's all of human progress reduced to one thing. Power source.
Well, that's because, you are a useless no. I was about to say useless eater, which is, one of the fucking most pretentious fucking wank things to say about something. Or someone, in my opinion. In my factually based opinion.
Oh no.
I am objectively right. But, so Dungeons 4, is just one of those games where it's like you don't know what you're getting into, like what to expect until you actually start it up, and it's just like, holy shit, this is actually really fucking fun. It also something which you may your ears may perk up when you hear it is that this is narrated by the narrator from the Stanley fucking Parable.
Oh no.
Why is this a
Oh
no?
god.
Oh no.
Because now I'm actually interested in the game. Before it was just like, it's Warcraft and it's Dungeon Keeper, alright, sure, but now fuck that. Now I have to
Yeah.
go through the trouble of looking it up, consider buying it, realize I don't have much money for video games at the moment, then feel sad about it. You started the entire circle, Melody. You didn't need to.
Well, I will note that every game in this series, except for the first one, has been narrated by him. So, actually, now everyone is interested in the whole series that we have not been paying attention to. We've just been like, it's Dungeons. Oh, there's a new Dungeons coming out. Oh wait, we're actually supposed to be paying attention to this shit because it's actually really fucking good.
Would that mean Dungeons 2 predates Stanley Parable?
No,
Okay.
but yeah, it's really fucking fun. In terms of just like the game mechanics and everything, it's just really addictive, like really well designed and everything. But yeah, it's just really funny. Really well voice acted, really well designed and everything. It's just excellent. But yeah,
That's Dungeons.
yeah, that's Dungeons.
Well, we haven't done podcasts before because there's usually some video game thing to keep us occupied in the gaps. Now there isn't. It's just us talking. But we'll get
That's
there.
the
It's only a
appeal.
Sorta podcast.
Yeah,
Hence the name.
it is only sort of a podcast. Hence it being
If you want an actual podcast, listen to something good.
no, listen to a podcast instead of a sort of podcast.
There you go. There you go.
Besides,
And yeah, so
oh sorry.
go ahead.
We're ferried
go ahead.
along by the SLRPG soundtrack, which means
Oh, this is true. This is true.
yeah, we're fine. We're buttressed by good music.
There you go.
Do you have any topics that you wanted to go into next?
I kind of do, yeah. So this is a bit of a random one because it's a film that, for one, next to no one's actually watched, and also it's a film that released a long, long time ago, 1970 to be exact. So neither of us were alive when the film came out, but through the magic of the internet and piracy, I managed to track it down at some point. That being said, The Creature Called Man, directed by Kiyoshi Nishimura, who is a very, very interesting man. It's the film itself isn't particularly interesting. It's a decently made crime thriller for the most part. Terrific cinematography, pretty good performances, although has like some absolutely appalling English dubbing, which is kind of like a staple of the time period of Japanese cinema. It's like whenever like white people talk in the film, it's just it's a bit hard to hear. But like then again, I'm sure like that's what other people from other countries think when they watch a Hollywood film and have to hear their language misrepresented it, and probably a lot worse. So it is always kind of funny just like hear the off-kilter dubbing.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be a turn-off, because the film is made with extreme craftsmanship, and what I wanted to talk about today was one shot that will stick with me for the rest of my life. And it comes like about halfway through the film. It's like about, I think it's a 90-minute film, so it comes about like 45-minute mark. And so just a bit of context. The entire film centers around this policeman trying to protect a political target from a sniper. And in this sequence, the sniper is after another political target, not the target that like he's co-signed to protect. And so this minor target is having sex with a prostitute because it is obviously a Japanese crime film. And so this is happening. And this is intercut with the policeman racing up the stairs to try and stop the shooting from happening in some way, and the sniper getting ready to shoot the target. What we don't know at the start, but what quickly becomes apparent, is that the prostitute is in on the sniper. She knows that like he's gonna make the hit, and so in this like amazing little shot, she walks up to the window, and she was smoking a cigarette before, so she takes a lighter and walks up to the window, opens the curtains, and then holds the lighter to the window. All right. So I want you to picture the frame. So you have this naked woman like on the left of the frame. It's like shrouded by the white curtains. In the background of the image, you have the target sleeping on the bed, and obviously there's a plate of glass because it's outside the window, and she's holding like a lighter. You kind of don't know what she's doing it for. You think it's maybe symbolic, and then it does this amazing thing, right? It does a jump cut at that point, and the jump cut shows a hole through the glass. The light has gone out, and the guy's dead. And it does it in such a brilliant way that like it basically like it implies that the sniper shot through the lighter and like hit the target. And the way they cut is so perfect. You could actually like it feels like you saw the bullet just go through the glass and like hit the person because of the and you get a blood squib effect as well. Obviously, it's just a jump cut, but like the way they framed that was so powerful. I was just thinking about that shot for the entire film, and I was just thinking like, how did you even fucking come up with that? You know, it's just so. That was something I've been meaning to share for a long, long time. Just an unbelievably powerful image that almost overshadowed the rest of the film because it's still a competent movie. Don't get me wrong; it's still well made, but it's pretty slow. It has some story problems and all that stuff. But like that one image of that sniper shot will like be buried in my head. Do you have any moments like that, Melody, when you just like there's like one moment in a narrative or a piece of art or something that overshadows pretty much the entire other like 99% of it?
I can't think of one overshadowing necessarily, but there are ones where it's just like so good that's like burned into my mind. The autumnal comic, which I'm showing footage of, right? Footage, I mean, like visuals here.
Stills off. Yeah, of course.
Like, because it's a comic. There is this one scene of the main character's she's a mom. Her mom has died just before the events of the comic, and you just kind of see like her body in the morgue, and there are like these roots and leaves just like every fucking where. It's just mortifying to look at. It is a powerfully like a powerful image. Trying to just fucking find just
I try
that
to find that specific
that
image. Yeah,
panel. Yeah, but it's fine. You can read it yourself and then encounter it
that's
and
probably a better idea. Yeah,
oh,
and same thing for the creature called man. If you could somehow find it, give it a watch.
too late. We have already encountered it. It's in the preview images
Ah, there you go.
on the publisher's website.
hmm
Um, get me to that page. This is one of my favorite comics ever. I've talked about it before on the channel, but it is just an incredible horror comic.
hmm
Right,
I've been meaning to read it, give it a read for a while as well.
look at this shit. It's just like God. But yeah, that there's the scene in SLRPG with the doc.
hmm
Um, let me see. Super lesbian animal RPG doc, and I'm trying to see if I can find the one that I'm actually talking about. Yes, this one. This scene right here. This fucking image is indelibly burned into my mind. It's just so comforting. You can't see it right now because you're not at the benefit of that the audience is.
It'll eventually be of benefit of that same benefit, so do not worry.
You actually have to watch the video and then give me a like. Haha. No, I just sent it to you over Discord.
I see. Oh, that is gorgeous. I see what you're saying.
Um,
The reflection of the moon as well. That's really cool.
like the dithering
So,
on the pixel art is just so good too.
yeah.
But yes, of course I would. My mind would immediately go to that as like an iconic image.
Mhm.
Are there any others for you?
For me, quite a few, but like, I think they're mostly from films that I've seen like multiple times. I think recently, a film that's done this really well is Oppenheimer. I've only seen that once in cinemas. Terrific film, and like the way Nolan used like certain shots at the ending, because like it ends on like a sort of montage. You only see some of those shots for like a few frames. I don't even think some of them last a full second, but like they're burned in, and like the because of the narrative weight that they hold at that point. I don't want to give away the ending, even though Oppenheimer's probably one of the biggest movies of the year. But like, yeah, no, that was terrific. I think a very recent one, even more recent Oppenheimer, is Killers of the Flower Moon, which is currently playing in theaters at the time of this recording, I think. So when it goes up, it's probably going to be on Apple. But yeah, that has some terrific widescreen imagery, which there's one of a burning field where basically this isn't much of a spoiler. Basically, a white man burns an Osage field to get the insurance money or something like that, and just the way that field is framed, like past the window, and you just get that refraction of like fire through it. I think that's just a gorgeous image, and quite a few films have this. That I mean, it's a visual medium, so you do need to have that. That should be a goal, to be honest, to have like at least a few images that you think about that stand out.
Yeah,
But yeah,
for sure.
I think that wraps up that little interlude nicely. If we continue to do the Sorta podcast in a sort of regular fashion, I shall bring forth more Kiyoshi Nishimura stories, because there are a few.
Mhm.
And also, no one watches his film. So, like, this might be the only time you ever hear about it. But, yeah.
Well, that's sort of the
Until
appeal of the Sorta podcast, I think. We're talking about the stuff you sorta kinda would never hear about.
there you go.
But yeah. So another topic that I had in mind, which if you actually watch my channel, fuckers, you would already be well aware that this would be something that I would be fucking in on. So one of my recent videos is about Sequestered Sympathy by EXULANSIS, which is one of my favorite albums ever. It is a work of pristine anarcho-neo-folk and atmospheric black metal and doom metal and crust punk and also chamber music. Yes, all of that. But as I note, presenting acoustic elements with rapid blast beats, soaring melodies, and dark harmonies, which is not just like promo fluff. That just is true. Like that is what they do. Like they're just phenomenal. So they have not one but two new albums on Bind Ruden Recordings. They have Overtures of Uprising, which is a fantastic work of blackened crust. And then they have Hymns of Collapse, which is a fantastic work of neo-folk, just pretty much pure neo-folk. So basically they split off the non-metal side and their metal side and just focused on those two. By the time this video goes up, these albums will, of course, already be available to stream and listen to on Bandcamp, but as of recording, these are not available for either of those, except for the advance preview tracks. However, I have listened to both of these as of last Sunday during their listening party that the label Bind Rune had run for both of them back to back. So I've listened to both of these, and I can confirm that at least one of them will be my album of the year. Predictably. If you wouldn't mind, Dan, I think it would actually be apropos if I played some of the preview track for Overtures of Uprising.
Of course, of course. Will we get killed by copyright people?
No, I don't think so, because we didn't get killed when I did the Sequestered Sympathy, and we're not going to be playing the whole thing. It's an 11-minute fucking song, so we're only going to be playing a small excerpt of it.
All right.
So I will let you know once we're done with that excerpt, and then we'll go on from there. So, yeah. All right, that's the excerpt we'll be doing.
Hey.
So, the song fucking rules. The album fucking rules. Go pre-order. Well, not pre-order, because again, it will be out by the time you're watching this. You consumer
Just give it a
swine. go listen to it. Go buy it. Possibly buy the vinyl if it's still available. You will not regret it. It is fucking amazing. Um,
There you
assuming that you are into all of these things, which you should be, if you have good no.
go. Oh yeah, you could go there, Melody. You could go there. I am notoriously bad taste, so I probably won't give it a listen.
Well, I will bully you
So if you
into
don't
no.
Well,
Nah.
there you go. If you don't want to be the next Daniel Shakespeare who gets bullied by Melody, give it a listen.
No, I get to bully you because you're my best friend. No one else gets to bully you, and I don't get to bully anyone else. That being said, you are an extra shithead if you don't. Echelon shithead, I should have said. But yes, this is absolutely worth your time, your money, your effort, your ears. It is fucking incredible. Absolutely worth the 4-year wait for both of these records. They are phenomenal, beautiful, hopeful, but also just harrowing as fuck. The production is amazing. The performances are stellar. It's just everything about it flows together. Both of them flow together so fucking well. You can't top EXULANSIS. They are just next level in every fucking way. Like, I was like, for this whole year, I was like, I usually know my album of the year once I hear it, and I haven't heard something that I'm like, this should be my album of the year yet, but I've got some albums I fucking love, and then I just immediately hear Overtures of Uprising, and I'm like, album of the year. So the trend
God.
continues.
I wanted to say something which would be very embarrassing, but I'm not going to.
Say
So
it.
I'm just gonna say. Alright, fine. I was gonna say this is how. I was gonna say this is how I felt when I heard the new Rick Astley album.
That's not
Like-
something to be embarrassed about.
Kind of is. It's Rick Astley. Everyone loves him, but he's also it's about like as normal as you could get. And you're going off about like this new metal group who's like reinvented the sound. I'm just like, hey, you know Rick Astley? He made a new album. It's kind of cool.
Well, I will say EXULANSIS will always be cooler than like anything else anyone like wants to talk about, because they are a band of queer anarchist hicks doing fucking chamber black metal folk with crust and doom. Like, they could have made Sequestered Sympathy 2, basically, and I would have ate that shit up. Like, it's one of my favorite albums ever, in terms of, like, if you ask me on a given day, I might sometimes say it's my favorite, like, singular favorite. So, like, of all the people, I'm, like, the only person in the world who would say that, probably, at this juncture. But,
Yeah, so that's a very long-winded way of saying they're not Rick Astley, are they?
No, I'm trying to say, like, I'm trying to get on the point that they could have just done Sequestered Sympathy again. They didn't, and they fucking still blew me the fuck away. I was just like, oh my fucking god. Like, in the listening party, the whole chat room was on Bandcamp was like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. What the fuck is this transition? It sounds so fucking good. And then at the end of it, like, everyone was just like, AOTY,
Right.
you know, album of the year. It's so fucking good. Like,
To be fair, Melody, to be fair, people do that for like almost every listening party of any new material.
listen,
Like I remember they were doing that for the Mortal Kombat 2021 soundtrack. All right, let me tell you.
but that's not an album. That's a soundtrack. Boom, destroyed.
No, I mean they were doing a listening party for the whole soundtrack album. It was an album, not like the theme.
I don't know what you're
And
talking about, so I'm gonna have to defer to you, which I don't feel good about.
no, you know, like films have soundtrack albums, right? Like
They
most
have
films do anyway.
soundtracks. That's
Yeah,
different from an album, though. Like,
oh, in what way?
a soundtrack is something which is designed. Initially, it's designed to soundtrack something, whether that's a video game, a movie, or play, or whatever. Um, Whereas an album is supposed to stand on its own. It's what the music, or the majority of the music, is, designed for. An album is designed to be listened by itself, whereas a soundtrack is designed, initially at least, to be listened to in accompaniment with whatever it was designed for, the movie or the game or whatever. So that's inherently different, because an album is meant to stand on its own more so, in that sense. It is the main show, the main event.
Yeah,
That's not to say that
I'll give you that.
that's
Yeah,
not to
but
say that
the
like
thing,
soundtracks are worse or anything, but like they're
yeah,
different.
no, but
Um,
soundtrack album releases are meant to be listened to by themselves. But that's why they're released. They're not released.
well, they're meant to be
Um,
released as a soundtrack, so you would judge them as a soundtrack rather than as an album, I would say. Like they're a record, but
yeah,
they're not an album. An EP is a record, but it's not an LP. Um,
yeah,
and also soundtracks tend to not be designed to flow necessarily together, because they're all just tracks that were designed for moments in the media it's from. Whereas an album is, even if it's not a concept or album or anything, it's supposed to flow together. Like the sequence of the songs is supposed to build and build, or however it may go, however it may be structured. So it
I mean, soundtrack albums are also structured. They also have sequences. You like just think about
well,
what piece of music to put in which places.
they
So
can just be structured though, chronologically in terms of appearance,
that's true.
and
Yeah, yeah,
that's usually how I see it. Is so that's obviously soundtracks can be structured differently, just like an album can be badly structured, but album as a format requires that sequencing. Soundtracks don't, and that's the inherent difference there. Um,
yeah.
is it That's what the medium is designed for. Um, but regardless, like what I mean to say though when I say like everyone was just like holy shit, is like this is not a band that has stands, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I am their stan currently, their single stan. Now I'm saying that, me saying that doesn't, like, I pre-ordered the fucking vinyls even though I don't have a goddamn record player to listen to them on. Like, that's me, and I didn't listen to the sound, like the singles ahead of time. I did not go in knowing anything other than these are new EXULANSIS albums and they're on Binder Recordings, which is they're the label behind Panopticon, which is like a very well respected band, and also very much in the EXULANSIS like sound, like they're kind of adjacent, I would say, in some ways. In other ways, they're closer to like Inaretta, Grayson, Ludacra, bands like those, which I mentioned in my video essay that everyone watching this definitely watched.
Of course.
Everyone has seen that, you know, and if they haven't, you know, they know the consequences. They should know the consequences of not watching the videos that I put a lot of effort into, especially the ones that take a lot of editing to make. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Go watch that one if you haven't already, or perish. Um, um anyways, um, but no, like you would be getting to like a big transition, like in a given song, and then you just see someone buying the album, like, because it would pop up in the live chat. It would just be like, so and so bought Overtures of Uprising. It was like, and also I just loved being able to just gush to the band and just being like, your fucking music's so good. Cause,
that's always a great feeling, yeah.
cause like, despite being their number one stan, like I've literally listened to the albums probably more than they have at this point. Like, which granted, like, some bands, you know, like as soon as it goes out, they're just like, I don't want to hear this ever again. So I don't know if they're in that, you know, that on that wave, but for me, it's just like cannot wait to listen to these albums hundreds and thousands of times over the years. Speaking of me being obsessed with this, this new album, I want to show everyone my fucking Last FM, so that you can see how much how many times.
Oh, I've seen this already, yeah.
How many times I've listened to this fucking song. Not just, like, at all, but over, like, in a row. And you're like, oh, and then there's, like, a pause for Pupil Slicer in their last album. And then it's just a wall. And then it's just a wall of Overtures of Uprising. So, yeah.
Good.
If you know anything about anything, go listen to Overtures of Uprising, fucker.
You're almost convinced me, Melody. You're almost convinced me to be a metalhead. But at least we have metal music. We have something to listen to, and we should always be thankful for that. Next topic I want to bring up might try go about erasing it. So, this podcast is being recorded at a time when SAG-AFTRA have just finished striking and getting their contracts ratified. One of the main sign-offs on their contract with Hollywood and the Hollywood producers was the usage of AI and their likeliness, and how they have to be the ones signing off on using said likeliness if it is used in such productions, which is probably the best way to go around it. Like, they're never going to say ban it outright. Like, at least consent, at least getting paid for it. I think that's the way to go, because like if you could pay for a robot, you might as well pay for the person. They're just going to get hired. That's the logic behind the deal. However, WB might have found a loophole in this by trying to make what they're essentially planning to do, according to a new news article from Variety, which, again, by the time this podcast airs in December, it might have already happened. There might be a huge internet backlash, and they might, regress. They might revert back to not doing something so stupid. But like, this is waters we're talking about, so we don't know. They're making an AI. You can't really call it a documentary, but it kind of is a documentary. It's an AI documentary feature on the French singer Edith Piaf, and I've butchered that, unfortunately. But yeah. So the idea is to use her likeliness from photos and stuff to generate AI images, and then using all of her songs to train an AI model and have her narrate a story. And I think that is absolutely dreadful. That's a awful fucking idea, especially considering that the main thing has been dead for 60
60
years at
more
this
than,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, it looks like it's a biopic, um, rather than a documentary.
Well, yeah. So the official like what's it called explanation from Variety was that it's basically following the film adaptation of Bob Evans's autobiography, The Kid Stays in the Picture, when they have like lots of images and stills and videos from Bob Evans's life narrated by Bob Evans, and it's about 90 minutes. That's basically what that was, and that's what this is trying to be. The key difference: Bob Evans was still alive when that was made, and they got Bob Evans to actually narrate it. And you gain so much character because Bob Evans speaks with actual emotions because he's a real person. So you know how he feels about things because he's real. Why would you resurrect a 60-year-old voice to make a biopic? Oh god. I mean, this is especially coming like a year after another 60s icon, Elvis Presley, got the biopic treatment. And I mean, look how that film turned out. You could say what you want about the film, but it was successful. I thought it was one of the best films of the year last year, but I know a lot of people have different opinions on it. But more importantly, it made Elvis popular again. It popularized his music. It was a singular vision of an actual artist who then hired an actor who went on to become kind of a star. He's probably the biggest upcoming film star in Hollywood now because of Elvis. And you are stealing that opportunity when you give work to AI. Especially, probably the funniest thing about all this is that there already is a biopic about Edith. A French biopic. I think it's called La Vie en Rose, which is one of her most famous songs.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I think it may have gotten mentioned in the Variety article.
Might have. Yeah, I've brought it up on my end. It's starring Marion Cotillard, who is a terrific actress. Most comic book fans will probably know her as Talia al Ghul in The Dark Knight Rises, which isn't that great of a film in my opinion, but she is really, really good in pretty much everything she does.
She was
I
like,
have not
oh,
heard-
sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
She was like the only reason to watch that Allied movie by Robert Zemeckis.
I mean, Pim was okay in that film. Come on, I thought Pim was alright. But
I mean, that movie is like, it seemed like when you're watching it, like, oh, this is really cool. But then, like, there are just some logical errors in it that are just like, wait a second, if you think about them, this does not make any sense.
well, you're describing almost every Zemeckis film. Like almost all of them.
I don't know.
Even like films like Adore, like even films like The Walk, like yeah.
I mean, like, when I finished watching that, I was like, wait a second. I forget what the thing was that I was like, this doesn't make any sense if you think about it. It was something to do with like what her persuasion was or something in terms of like if she was or wasn't a Nazi, if I remember correctly. And it was just not like, as soon as I was like, you know, it just kind of ruined the movie, like, to an extent, because it just like, that doesn't work. But what were your thoughts on it, like, yourself?
On Allied, to be fair, I watched it a while back and I can't remember it all that well. I remember like there's that sandstorm bit which is kind of cool. I like Pit in pretty much anything. So I don't have too many thoughts on this, but I do want to come back to a film on Edith Piaf because for I didn't know this because I wasn't following film too closely in like the mid 2000s. But Marion got an Oscar for this. So, are you really telling me that an AI is going to deliver a performance, or like it is even necessary to capture the likeliness of a person who again is long dead? She died 60 years ago. There's no way she could have obviously consented to her likeliness being used by AI or anything like that. Why would you recreate her when you have a performance that was so terrific and so noteworthy that the Academy decided to, bestow an Oscar upon it for a French language film? And if you read a bit further down, you realize that's the first time a French language role has been given an Oscar. So, yeah, it is baffling. Because like the first thing that my mind goes to is, what if we just got an Elvis biopic, which is just Elvis like an AI Elvis just muttering along, going, "I was born in Memphis, Tennessee." Like, it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, like
Why would you do that? Oh god.
it's just all of
Yeah.
that shit. Like people will defend AI to the fucking death. Oh, sorry, AI, because it's not actually like intelligent. It's just a fucking algorithm. But
Yeah.
people will defend that shit to the fucking death if they like want to get on that grift, or they just are fucking gullible as fuck and are like, it's the future, man. It's the future. Um, like those people like use Luddite as an insult because they don't know what like the Luddites actually were, and the fact that they were like obviously right. They weren't anti-technology, they were anti-losing their jobs because of technology. Which is the same fucking thing here. People are not mad at AI because, oh, it's too technologically advanced for our tiny human brains. Like,
the main problem is, for like 100 years, Mel, Hollywood has, and I say Hollywood very specifically, I'm not talking about other film industries, specifically Hollywood has created this image of, actors and directors being paid millions and millions of dollars and driving all these fancy fucking cars. So a lot of the tech bros think this is a way of leveling the playing field in some weird way. They think it's like this way of like, oh yeah, now they're gonna start losing their jobs too. But they don't realize they're not the ones that are gonna be losing the jobs.
yeah, it's
The AI is gonna be replacing background actors, people who work paycheck to paycheck. They're the people in danger.
yeah, and also it's gonna be fucking over like visual art, like CGI artists,
CGI artists, yeah.
like that kind of shit. And outside of film, it's also gonna be musicians, like session musicians, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Like basically, it's gonna ruin everything for anyone who's not already established in their fields. At least in mediums which are benefited by where the AI kind of stuff can cover for that person, like because you can't replace Scarlett Johansson with an AI and people would go to it instead of ScarJo. Like that's never gonna happen because one is the real thing and the other isn't. Obviously, like even if like the AI was 100% convincing, people would still go for the real thing instead of the fake thing because like it once they know
that's what it is. Like all it is just a copy of a copy. That's
it's
all AI
regurgitation
can do. That's the best case scenario that you're gonna get. But here's the thing. copy of a copy is what extras were in Hollywood for a long time. What extras, to an extent, stopped being in around 2008, 2009 when they had CGI extras, which were already a thing. So, to an extent, that's nothing new. The problem is, CGI extras are still hidden behind walls of actual people. And those people are going to stop being replaced. That's what all the articles are meaning about background actors or background artists. Those are the people who are still there. It's already a diminishing market, and AI is probably just going to diminish that further. Thankfully, I think the actor strike has kind of stopped it from happening to an extent.
Yeah,
But,
hopefully.
like, you will have more cases like this unless WB are kind of taking task online. I mean, they probably will be, because, like, I don't know if you know about this, Mel, but like a few days ago they decided to shelve a John Cena
Yeah,
animated film.
Coyote
Yeah,
versus Acme.
yeah, and they were brutalized online, rightly so, and now they're selling it to someone else. So if they want to ship it along, they can, which is still bad because people will lose out. Like the creators will lose out on money, but at least the film exists now, and that happened because of internet pressure. It's not like, released a Snyder Cut kind of like guerrilla campaigns. It's just like people say, "All right, no, this is stupid." Like we need
Yeah,
to like figure this out.
a lot of that is probably because John Cena, James Gunn being on it is like, you know, like
Yeah,
it's
exactly. But like, it goes to show just how many movies you think get shelved without like these big stars that we just
yeah,
don't even
like
know about. Like,
Batgirl and that fucking Scoob holiday movie. Both of those got fucking axed, and
yeah,
like people made a fuss about it, but it wasn't like the kind of fuss that you get when it's like you're hiding a James Gunn fucking written movie. What the fuck is wrong with you? You
yeah, no,
just
like
had
the
Suicide
Scoob
Squad.
one is actually a great thing actually. That's a great point to make because Batgirl got like quite a bit of buzz because Brendan Fraser, because it's a DC property and all that
Mhm.
stuff. I
Firefly.
saw
Yeah.
people mention Scoob for a few days, and that was it.
Yeah, because it was
Like,
like,
and then
oh, it's another Scoob movie.
yeah, and here's the thing: movies do get shelved in Hollywood constantly, and this isn't even necessarily a bad thing because what happened in the 70s and 80s? All right, this script isn't going anywhere, but this script is. We'll put our resources into this one. That's happened all the time. That to an extent that happens when we're making comics. So like, or whenever we write anything, we're thinking like, all right, we can work on this later. Maybe this idea doesn't work. We scrap it. We do something else. What's new, and what WB are pioneering is deleting movies entirely that have already been made, and that is completely new because even the worst film would usually just be released at a grindhouse theater, then given like a physical copy release, so like the creators can watch it at some point. Batgirl is literally doesn't exist anymore, and so yeah, it's a dark road, but there are glimpses of light flickering here and there. Like if the internet can like wave their arms about enough, hopefully we can like exact some change in this. I think we will. I think it's an uphill battle, but it's one that will be won.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is their goddamn problem? Like Zaslav and all them, like, just
Yeah,
like we love movies, truly and honestly. We also hate letting a movie release and seeing if it actually does. Like, they're getting a $30 million tax write-off on it, or at least that was the plan before. Now they're selling it off. They would be
yeah,
making more than that with fucking releasing it into theaters. Especially if they actually
yeah,
put effort into it. Like the tax write off thing is not just so that you can just fuck around and get free fuck ups.
yeah.
and just throw things into the fucking trash. They're not getting more than they would be from actually releasing it. They're not getting as much as they would be from, you know, from just letting it go and sell. They're getting...
It's really just they want the money now because it's one of like the base principles of financial markets and how they work.
Mhm.
It's money now is always more valuable than money later, and that's basically the high that Zaslav's getting. Because like, all right, I could market this, plan around my window, like shift movies around, maybe make them lose money so this can like do a little better, or I can write this off as a tax file, get the money now, and just like keep on keeping on. That's basically the mindset. It's a dreadful one.
I get the feeling that these official trailers that I'm looking at right now aren't actually official trailers.
Considering the movie, it doesn't exist.
I thought that there was a trailer for it, but no, evidently not.
No. It's like, again, the movie was literally about to never exist, ever. So, like, there wouldn't be a trailer for it.
I mean, like, they've been talking about it before, but... You would think that they would have had something to go with.
No, like, this is actually what I was talking about, Melody. You would need to invest money in a trailer. You would need to invest money in an ad campaign. You would need to invest all these things. Which is why they try to be sneaky and just, like, sell the movie off as a tax write-off. So they don't need to give a shit.
That's so fucking dumb. Yeah. Like, is the fucking... like, production of the movie not going to cost more than $30 million? Because that's what they got as the tax write-off. Like, so what is...
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they just fucked up completely with this. Like, why would you do that? Like, is the point not to make profit off of it instead of losing all of that fucking money beyond the $30 million?
So the way movie financing works, right? So
it's usually twice. Yeah.
It's usually at least 2.5.
Yeah.
So if the film costs 50, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would put maybe 30 or 40 into marketing, so like the actual film costs 90. And then when you put it like in release, the theaters get at least half of it. So the movie has to make about 180. And then you have residual payments and like other kickbacks that you're looking after that, which would be about 20 million on a picture like this. So you need to make 200 million to break even.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you, like, in other terms, if you make 160, you'd be losing 20.
Yeah.
So, what they're basically saying with this, alright, there's no fucking way in hell this movie's making 160. Let's just sell it now, so at least we have the money now. And I think that's just dreadful, because, like, that means you have no faith behind what you're trying to sell.
Yeah, and...
That means you have, like, no...
Sorry.
I mean, even beyond, like, you know, the humanitarian idea of, like, literally erasing someone's work on a fucking whim. Like,
it also makes you look shit. It makes your fucking thing look like shit. Because is Universal doing that? Like, no, because they are actually investing in, like, I don't know if there are any big problems with Universal lately. I don't pay attention.
Probably, yeah. There's problems with every major studio.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
at least they're not deleting fucking goof.
Yeah, like, I mean, besides obviously not breaking on this, like, not helping with the strike or anything like A24 and Neon. Well, I don't think Neon really did that much, actually.
Yeah, I think Neon did for, like, a few films, but, like, that was part of it.
Yeah, they got a couple of the approvals.
The big hitters out, yeah.
The
Ferrari film was one of them.
Yeah. The Michael Mann one.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be a good one.
But like Universal isn't doing that because of their fucking reputation matters so much, as we make really fucking good movies.
Warner Brothers. You'd think Warner Brothers have that reputation as well. They've been going for over 100 years now. They are one of the biggest old hitters in Hollywood left, if not the biggest old hitter left. And yeah, no, it is like almost hilarious. It's so terrifying. It's almost hilarious to just see like how far they've fallen.
They've ruined they ruined the reputation of fucking HBO too. Which is like, how the fuck do you do that in like the span of 4 years? Which, like, they've just absolutely fucking gutted themselves. And it's like, even with Universal releasing, like, obviously Universal has released movies that people haven't liked, like Dracula Untold. Like, no one liked that except for me. I liked Dracula Untold. I thought it was fun. But
that's McAvoy movie, right?
No, Luke Evans.
Luke Evans?
Yeah, Luke Evans, Dracula Untold.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Frankenstein film.
Yeah, you're thinking of not I Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein.
Victor Frankenstein, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That one's, like, mediocre as fuck. But McAvoy's fun in it. But, like, like, people have, like, everyone's seen a Universal movie they haven't liked. But when you sit in the theater and you see, like, the fucking Universal, like, logo fucking thing, you're like, shit, hell yeah, it's a Universal movie. Like, when you fucking go and you watch, like, a WB movie now, it's like, Zaslav is such a fucking shithead. Everyone knows Zaslav now as being a fucking asshole.
I kind of think that's a very good point. Like, the last thing you want to be as a producer, you want to be rich, you want to have some Oscars. The last thing you want is to be known. The last thing you want is to like have like a big name as the villain of your own industry, and that's kind of what's happening to Zaslav. In a weird way, that's what's happened to Iger now as well, because of like what Disney's been doing to their thing, which is honestly very similar. Like what Disney Plus has been doing to their films. And
they're just castrating themselves, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
so
just sell them at that point. Like, it's better if it actually gets released and people can see and witness. Like, at this point, just fucking start releasing DVDs. Like, come on. Like,
bring DVDs back. There you go.
Bring DVDs back.
If this is a Sorta podcast, but this is not a Sorta claim. Right? We definitely need DVDs back. We need DVDs back. Cheap physical media. There you go. We just
release. Netflix release a box set of Dead End Paranormal Park tomorrow.
There you go.
Not tomorrow as in tomorrow after this video releases, tomorrow as in tomorrow after recording. The 15th of November, if it hasn't released, then I am ending my non-existent Netflix subscription. I will time travel back to tomorrow, and I will not release. I will cancel my subscription. Also, release Knives Out 2 on DVD. What the fuck? Like, I want a fucking glass onion on my shelf. I want the platform on my shelf. Like, what the fuck?
Like, you know what people are doing now to get around that, MJ? They are downloading the films from Netflix and burning them onto Blu-ray disc and bootlegging them.
But do they have the boxes, though? The boxes are the fun part.
They take the poster from Netflix's own site. Well, the posters are actually easily available. Print them out and just like put them in like the plastic boxes that we used to get video games in.
But I want an actual fucking DVD box.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Like
So, no special features, nothing. You just get a poster. There's your poster. There's your Blu-ray. Fuck you. That's it. That's just,
and what
it's
about the
kind of great,
previews,
honestly.
man? Where's my scene select?
There's no scene select. There's no special features. It's just there you go. That's the movie. That's the.
Ugh.
Oh god.
Things were better back in my day. But
So yeah, I'll digress.
so
To wrap it up, AI bad, WB bad,
and
people good.
And-
Sometimes.
also Battle Chaser is good. I should have
Terrific segue that now. But like
Battle Chaser is good. Folks, why is this only showing the video game? Show me the comic. Which you
what is Battle Chaser?
Battle Chasers is basically what if a JRPG was a comic, and also in the 90s, and also horny, but very cute and beautiful as well.
So you're describing 90s manga. Okay, continue.
It also just came back recently, and I haven't read it, but it looks gorgeous. And it's not by Joe Mad, which makes me mad, but it is still gorgeous. And doesn't actually make me mad, but I just love his art. IGN, you fucked up. You put a space in Night War. You fucked up. Big time. Big time losers. Anyways, it's published by Image, which it was originally under the Cliffhanger imprint of the Wildstorm imprint of Image back when that was a thing. So
Oh yeah.
They show me the original comic, you fuckers. It's showing me like the first cover, and then it's also showing me the new run. Show me the 90s one, fuckers. Show me Joe Matarera. I don't know actually how to pronounce his last name, just because it's something I've always read.
I butchered a French name earlier on. You can butcher another name.
But it has Calibretto. Calibretto is one of the best characters ever of anything. I will not take any lip. You may remember that from the Google Plus days. Because I would definitely say, like, sometimes. I fucking love Battle Chasers. But yeah, it's basically like if you had a JRPG, but if you swapped around, like, all of the classes of the characters are, like, weird. Like, you have the mecha who is the healer, you have the kid who's the tank, that kind of thing. You have the monk who is the magician. And then you just have, like, the warrior dude, and he's a warrior dude. But, like, no, it's just very sweet in a lot of ways that you didn't kind of get in that era. Like, you would expect, like, oh, this just, like, oh, it's gonna be horny as fuck, it's gonna be leering at Red Monica, who's kind of infamous at this point for her design. Because she's just... The comic just loves looking at her tits. I prefer Calibretto.
Readers, right? Hey.
I prefer looking at Calibretto.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. Look at this big boy. He's such a
I
sweetie.
shall look at the big boy.
You're not looking at the big boy.
I shall.
You will in like 3 weeks or more.
At some point, the big boy shall be looked at. Until then.
I mean, you can look at him in Discord. I sent you. He's the big boy. Whose face is right next to the logo. Like his head is right next to the bee in Battle Chasers.
Oh, okay, I see him. I see him now.
You could also just look up Calibretto. Battle Chasers. Hell yeah, Calibretto. I love this boy. Look at it. Look at this fucking sweet boy. Why? Oh, there. That's why. Look at this fucking little dude. This.
That is a unit and a half, yeah.
He is just delightful. Like, he's just so warm and wholesome. I love him. Like, just basically, what if the Dark Chasers, the creator of Dark Chasers, or not Dark Chasers, what the fuck am I saying? Darksiders. Darksiders. The creator of Darksiders, he created this comic back in the 90s, Battle Chasers. Fucking amazing comic, hilarious, cute. Like, the art is that 90s school of, like, radical, but it's also just fucking amazingly detailed. Like,
yeah,
it's so, like, immaculately designed. Like, there's just so much love and care put into rendering, like, the wood, the cracks and, like, the divots in his armor, like, that kind of shit. It's just so fucking, like, you can spend, like, 2 hours just gawking at, like, every fucking panel and looking at every fucking bit of detail. But it all flows together, like, you can still, like, know, like, your eyes still flow naturally through, like, the art. So yeah, just like I love Battle Chasers. It is so delightful. And then eventually he moved on to video games. He created Darksiders. Darksiders.
Which I know. I knew about this before you brought Battle Chasers up. See, I'm cultured. I know things.
There's a Darksiders 2 comic, which I don't think he did the cover art for. Yeah, Roger Robbins.
Darksiders is terrific art, doesn't it? Like, just everything about that series.
Yeah, and it's all of its designs are Joe Mad. This is Darksiders 2 is also one of the best AAA games ever made, handily. I love Darksiders. You just don't get, like, games like that anymore, where it's just, like, lovingly crafted, kind of, like, exquisite, like, epic, you know.
I think the 2018's God of War comes close, I think.
That's
like,
different. That's, like, more prestige kind of shit. I'm thinking, like, it has that 360 charm to it, where it's, like, fucking kind of goofy, too. You know?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's... I think that's just, like, rose-tinted glasses for that.
I've played it again.
Exact same thing.
I've played it again. Like, I still play Darksiders 2, and it's just, like, it has that, like, whimsy to it.
But that's not what I meant. I meant, it's because that's kind of the art style we grew up for with games.
I'm
we
not
like that a lot more. I mean, not art style, I mean, but, like, that level of realism, we're fine with accepting it. But, like, for younger people, right? Like, if you try to introduce it to Darksiders or Infamous 2, they think
Darksiders 2 is still looks amazing because it has, like, its own art style to it. It's
Yeah,
not.
I think Infamous 2 looks amazing as well, but like a lot of people disagree with
Well, that's because they're wrong and bad.
that.
I can
There
fucking
you
look
go.
at games from like 40 fucking years ago and be like, that looks amazing. So, fake
Yeah.
lies.
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine saying Darksiders looks bad, though. I mean, like,
Imagine saying Half-Life looks bad. You know,
yeah.
Half-Life looks great.
Half-Life 1 kind of looks a bit. Black Mesa looks great. obviously,
Half-Life 2, Quake looks amazing still. Like,
but OG Doom looks amazing in my opinion. No, not 2016. I mean, like Doom.
yeah, Doom, original Doom.
Because like that's what they were working with, and like for what they made, like it still looks great, it still plays great. You could play Doom right now on your browser; it looks terrific. And yeah, I mean, Pong looks great. All right, like you can go all the way back there because like that it does what it sets out to do.
It commits to its aesthetic.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. When you commit to an aesthetic, it all flows together well. And there's nothing that
Congratulations,
breaks immersion.
you have a good-looking game. There
Yes. Which is why, like, a lot of games that are newer can still fuck up when they have, even when they have, like, the best technology, great artists, which isn't their fault, obviously. Like, they're crunching, they have to work within the
Yeah.
the industry that they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say something like Injustice 2 looks like shit a lot of the time. Like, the faces just look horrible. I just want to die sometimes.
All right. First off, fuck
I know, I've chosen violence. You are the Injustice 2 defender.
Yeah, like what you are for indie queer rock bands, I am for
Not rock
AAA
bands.
WB gate. That like
Rock is boomer.
Oh, sorry, metal, but that's what I meant.
Metal
But,
is
like,
good.
Yeah.
You will defend
I
multinational
will
corporation regurgitation.
I will defend specifically WB's AAA product about a sequel to a long-standing comic book franchise.
And we were talking about like loot boxes, like like earlier
the
with
recording
Squad
just before
Pass.
this.
Yeah, just before this actually. Like the faces and like, and it's because like the mocap isn't there yet. Like the technology just isn't ready for.
I think it is. I think like just after Injustice, we had Death Stranding, and I think with Death Stranding, we kind of got photorealism, in my opinion at least. And with the new generation, we're probably going to see a lot more of that.
Like look at this fucking face. This looks horrible. Look at Superman's face right now, dear viewers. Do you just not want to cringe into your seat and just like and I don't want to be rude towards like the actor whose performance is captured here. Obviously, like it's not their fault. It's just that the technology just isn't there. It just hits right into the uncanny valley. Like it just.
But you can't really say the same thing about. I was about to say you can't really say the same thing about Mortal Kombat 1, the new Mortal Kombat, and you can't. But then I realized that's partially because they deliberately moved away from the more realistic designs and made them more stylized.
And also when you're.
Gave them...
Oh, sorry.
No, like I was going off your point. I was agreeing with you. Like they're committing to an aesthetic more than they did with Injustice 2.
And in Injustice 2, you have, like, this really striking image right here of, like, Brainiac. And then it's just, like, later you just get, like, these fucking, like, globs and shit of... like, look at this.
I will say, Justice 2 is a bit visually inconsistent. Like, even in the story cutscenes, you have something as amazing as the Flash Reverse Flash fight right next to, like, kinda badly rendered dialogue scene, you know? Like... I mean, that being said, it's a fighting game, it does what it is, it's still, in my opinion, the best NRS game, everyone else fuck off.
Well,
But...
I think it is uggo and predatory. But yeah, like
There you go. See, we can disagree. We can have disagreements. We're good. We're good friends.
yeah, we can have disagreements. Go fuck yourself.
Oh god.
Fuck you for liking Injustice 2 so much. It's 7 out of 10 game. Thumbs down.
Oh god.
-2.
-2.
L plus
yeah.
ratio plus bad opinion haver.
L plus ratio plus enjoy your platinum loot box, you motherfucker.
Enjoy.
But, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Speaking of enjoying things, I hope you enjoyed listening to the Sorta podcast, episode 1
of 0. We're not releasing this. That's it. That's right, fuckers. We're pulling a David Zaslav here. You don't even get to see this. And we're not gonna announce it so that way you can't be mad at us.
There you go.
So it's
Unless someone has insider information who decides to leak it to the world, you will never know about this transaction that's conspired.
exactly. That's why it's a sort of podcast. You sort of
it sort of exists for now.
Yeah, it exists until I delete it off of the hard drive.
YouTube page.